So if I would ask you that question, what determines the perfect license and support deal? Well, we see quite a few customers that may say, I had a very conversation with a software publisher, and they just gave me an additional 20% discount because I just was kind of, pushing. I kept on pushing, and then they agreed and gave me a better discount. And, in some cases, the customer may be happy with that, but was it really the perfect deal? Let's look into this, So actually, when we talk with customers and they then tell us that they have, a good deal that's now on the table, a good license or support agreement, we then, just need to ask a couple of questions. The first question that we would ask is something like, do you have a deal that is really reflecting your actual demand? Which means, so does the agreement reflect what you currently use and what you want to use in the future? Most agreements, either for a license agreement or a service agreement, are set to have at least a 3-year duration, in some cases even 5 years, especially when it comes to cloud subscriptions. Software publishers like Microsoft or SAP in particular, they want you to commit, which means they want you to give a number on the number of employees, users, certain services, features that you want to actually then include in the contract, where you may go in with something like an expectation. Question is, what happens if that expectation never really substantiates? When something happens because of something like COVID. We will have a slide on this in particular, but when we consider a good deal, it actually should include some level of flexibility where you can up or down scale, for instance, based on the actual demand, where you can swap products. So where you can exchange product A with product B, things like that. So is actually that deal that you have, the contract, reflecting these, these aspects related to your actual demand, current and future? Next question. Is it actually service fit, which means whatever you agree with a software publisher or service provider, do those publishers or service providers really align their SLAs with your business requirements? So you may get a good deal, but the service levels are so low, and that was just because the service provider or publisher gave you a better price by actually reducing the service level. So you have to balance it out. So it has to also be in alignment with your service requirements. And, that really to ensure then full operation and, in worst case, really business continuity. Next step would be the architecture fit, which means you may get a good deal, but actually the software you purchase doesn't really fit into your IT architecture. It may be something way out of your comfort zone. It may be the second or third workflow solution that you now purchase, even though you already have one, which is well established. But maybe just because of an additional feature, someone really asked for a new license agreement with another publisher or service provider. So you always need to ask yourself, is the product or service you buy really aligned with your overall IT architecture requirements, your enterprise architecture? And last but not least, well, you need to know whether that partner you will work with is actually a good fit for you. So does this partner really share the same vision and strategy as you? Is that partner willing to go the extra mile? Will they throw in some extra hours of consulting? So are they really interested in, that you as a customer really really generate those benefits that may have been just documented on the marketing slide from that publisher or service provider? So do they really bring in, something extra into this partnership with you? Or is it just basically you pay the money, they provide the services or the software licenses, and that's it? There is no other means of communication between the both. So these are just 4 of the main topics that we see. There are others as well, but really when we say that's a real perfect license and support deal, we expect that those 4 areas are actually also scrutinized, and you have an answer, hopefully, that you can take then into a discussion. And sometimes it could be that a lack of architecture fit, which you make transparent to a software publisher, leads to a better pricing because that publisher just wants to sell the product, and you may need it here and there, right? So there's just a few examples here.